don't have nearly enough goodwill to make an attempt to stop you, let alone the power to do so.
Then I suggest you hand me the key already.
To be frank, I forgot where I put it.
Fine.
What's got you like this?
Get up? No clue. But if you keep distracting me, I'll give you a closer.
That's not what I meant, and you know that. I know that you're remembering things as you go along. I'd drag Chesed and I into a meeting about it.
Then you should know why I'm doing this then. All the footage in those training tapes? That's me. Dying. With every video made, I remember my body getting dismembered, exploded, burned, tortured in any way possible for the sake of education. Done with experiencing more of my failures for this hellhole.
You're putting a lot of effort into this, especially for the sake of giving up.
You want to run that by me again?
You're giving up. There was one more presentation you had to do, and it wouldn't even be that hard.
It's a lot shorter than the WoW one, that's for sure.
You didn't listen to a word I just said, did you? I don't want to remember all that pain again. I don't know how that footage even exists, but none of that pain is coming back in my mind.
And so, you put more effort into making a whole scheme to go against the Angela and the manager. What happens when you get what you're asking for? It's not like the pain goes away.
But then there's no chance I'll have to face more from them. They're the ones who've planned this whole thing out for me. Let's see what happens when I go against the script.
Even if you're this far gone, take a page out of my book and try to see things through to the end.
Yeah, sure. End it.
Found your key.
Finally.
The following video is meant only for authorized level 5 employees, Sephiroth, or manager viewing. If you are not one of these listed individuals, please eject the tape and report this to the nearest department team captain. You have 5 seconds to comply. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you are unauthorized to view the footage and have failed the previous instruction, you are subject to disciplinary action. This tape serves as training instruction for all ALEPH level abnormalities. During viewing, please take note of every detail listed about each creature. Your life is forfeit if this warning is left unheard. Begin instruction. O-06-20 is an abnormality made of various human components. Eyes, mouths, arms, bone, and intestines make up a tripedal creature. Employees that work in this abnormality are required to have level 5 fortitude, level 5 temperance, and level 4 justice. It is recommended that attachment work be the only work performed with this abnormality. Do not perform insight or repression work. If you attain a bad work result while working with this creature, you will die. The abnormality will proceed to take the skin off your corpse and disguise itself as you. The next employee to attain a bad work result will also die, and their skin will be taken next. The abnormality will then hide itself among the facility in an attempt to blend in. The manager will have 10 seconds to dispose of the fraud employee with 1 bullet. Upon a successful disposal, the abnormality will return to its containment unit. Upon a failed disposal, it will enter its normal form and roam the facility, hostile. It will attack nearby employees for 30 seconds or until suppression. After 30 seconds have passed and suppression has failed, It will transform into an egg-shaped cocoon for an additional 30 seconds. It will not attack, but its resistances will increase. After 30 seconds have passed and suppression has failed, it will transform into its third form. While in this state, it will choose one target in the facility and pursue it until death. The abnormality deals high amounts of red damage from its arm and high projectile bone fragments from a distance. When you see its arm morph into a long blade, stand out of its way, as this attack can kill anything not wearing specific ALEPH or higher ego equipment. End of instruction. Begin instruction. T-01-31 is a group of entities depicting music notation. The depicted conductor is the only abnormality seen in the containment chamber. The entity stands upon a pole and base, making it appear as a mannequin. It is recommended that inside or attachment be the only performed work on this abnormality. It is not recommended that repression work is performed in this abnormality. Do not perform instinct work in this abnormality. If an employee attains to good or bad work results, the abnormality will breach to the main room of its residing department. The other entities of the abnormality will also spawn with the contained one in a stage. The group will begin to perform a song. The song has 5 movements, during which the abnormality will become vulnerable to various types of damage. The order is pale, black, white, and red. During its performance, all employees within its range will receive white damage. As the song progresses through each movement, the range for its damage will increase to the nearby hallways and elevators. During the 4th movement, all acquired energy of the day will be depleted. During the 5th and final movement, the abnormality will become immune to all damage types, and all employees with less than half of their total sanity will die. The abnormality will then willingly return to its containment unit. Upon suppression of the abnormality before the end of the song, it will return to its containment unit. End of instruction. Begin instruction. T-01-75 is a spherical black mass containing various faces and debris. It stands on a varying number of legs and has a gaping mouth at its front. However, the entity's appearance may change due to its anomalous nature. It is recommended that instinct or repression be the only performed work on this abnormality. Do not perform inside or attachment work in this abnormality. Several factors may cause this abnormality to breach. This includes entering the containment while not fully healed, getting a bad work result, or 10 employees in the facility dying outside of the means of execution bullets. When the abnormality breaches, it will attempt to consume the nearest corpse it can find. If it cannot find one, the creature will try to make one. Consuming corpses will restore the abnormality's health, as well as allow it to evolve. After 3 corpses are eaten, its health is doubled and gains a secondary main body. This second stage allows it to let out a guttural roar and deal black damage to those nearby. If it consumes another 3 corpses, it will gain a third main body. This allows it to slam its mass into nearby creatures and spit acid in them, dealing massive amounts of black damage and slowing all who are caught in it. If suppression is completed in the 3rd or 2nd stage evolution, the abnormality will not immediately return to containment. It will then devolve into its previous evolution, until it is suppressed in its first form. Upon the first form's suppression, the abnormality will return to its containment. End of instruction. The following abnormality instruction has been heavily redacted. This is to protect the viewer from high amounts of traumatic imagery. If a discrepancy has been found during the viewing of this tape and you begin to suffer from symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, night terrors, or begin to have suicidal/homicidal thoughts or tendencies, report to the Welfare Department for rehabilitation. Begin instruction. O-03-89 is a with several protruding from in it has shows excreting its in the floor When an employee enters the containment unit, seeing the will cause the employee's sanity to drastically fall. It is recommended that inside or instinct work is performed in the abnormality. It is not recommended that attachment work be performed in this abnormality. The abnormality has a chance to breach containment if an employee panics during work, or if a bad work result is achieved. No employee below level 5 is allowed in or around its containment unit. In order to keep the cliff of counter at maximum, the repression work has been converted to sacrifice work. An employee will be selected at random to be chosen as a sacrifice to the creature upon selection of the sacrifice work by the manager. The pool of employees will be chosen from the department it resides in. If there are no employees working in the department, it will choose from the rest of the facility. When an employee is sacrificed, it will enter the containment unit. The abnormality will then end, causing the employee to die. The cliff of counter will increase by 1 upon the end of the sacrifice. If the abnormality breaches, it will begin roaming the facility. When it kills an employee or finds a corpse, it will causing it to regain health and spawn a smaller copy of itself. If a level 4 or lower employee encounters the abnormality, they will immediately panic. Level 5 or higher employees are the only capable ones that can suppress the creature. Level 3 or lower employees will panic at the sight of the copies, but level 4 or higher employees are able to suppress the spawn. End of instruction. Begin instruction. O-03-93 is an amalgamation of gray legs surrounding a blue-hearted core. The center of the core contains a pitch-black void that seems to have its own gravitational pull. It is recommended that inside or repression work be performed in this abnormality. It is not recommended that instinct work be performed in this abnormality. Do not perform attachment work in this abnormality. The creature has a chance to breach if an employee with less than level 5 prudence enters the containment unit, or if the work goes on longer than 60 seconds. Both circumstances will cause the employee assigned to work to be sucked into the abnormality as hard and killed. If the abnormality breaches containment, it will spawn in a random main department room. All employees that panic during its breach will be sucked into the void at its core. The abnormality will pulse in short intervals to deal hefty white damage to all employees in the facility. Any employee with level 2 or lower temperance and or level 3 or lower prudence that enters the same room as the abnormality will immediately panic and die. Upon suppression of the abnormality, it will return to its containment unit. End of instruction. Begin instruction. D-01-106 is an abnormality consisting of a black and white soldier surrounded by a pink heart. It is recommended that insight and attachment be the only performed works on this abnormality. Do not perform repression work in this abnormality. The abnormality may breach under several conditions. This includes repression work, performing its special protection work, getting a bad work result, or when 5 or more employees die in the facility outside of execution bullets. This can be mitigated by suppressing abnormalities inside the facility. When special work is performed in a selected employee, the abnormality will explode into hearts and teleport to the agent. The protected agent receives 20% less damage and heals every 10 seconds. If the employee is level 3 or lower, the manager will lose control over them for 2 minutes. After that, the abnormality will return to its containment chamber. Upon breaching, 4 iterations of the abnormality will spawn throughout the facility, now turned black. They will attempt to make their way to the main room of the department, only attacking when provoked. When they do attack, they will deal large amounts of black damage to all employees in the room of the creature. When the abnormality reaches the main room, they will explode and deal light damage to all employees in the department and lower the Cliff counter of each abnormality in it by 1. Level 3 or lower employees that panic from the abnormality's attacks will begin going on a murderous rampage, but become immune to the attacks from the creature itself. Upon suppression or explosion of each heart, the abnormality will return to containment. End of instruction. Begin instruction. D-03-1009 is an entity comprised of pink slime taking the shape of a female humanoid. It is recommended attachment and insight work be performed in this abnormality. It is not recommended that instinct work be performed in this abnormality. Do not perform repression work in this abnormality. The abnormality may breach under several conditions. This includes okay or bad work, repression work performed by D-03-1009-1, or if half of the department becomes infected. The first employee to do non-repression work in the abnormality will gain a blessing from the creature. The employee is now referred to as D-03-1009-1. The employee receives white health every 15 seconds with the blessing but has a chance to infect nearby employees every 10 seconds. This infection can be identified by a slime particle in their cheek. Infected employees receive all of the same conditions that the blessed employee does, including the ability to spread the infection. Over time, the infected employees will slowly morph into amalgamations of slime and become hostile to other employees. If the blessed employee completes insight work and fails to produce 24 or more Teflon boxes, all infected employees will immediately be transformed into minions of the abnormality. If the blessed employee dies, the abnormality will immediately breach, now turning into a formless amalgamation of slime and bones. If the abnormality breaches, all infected employees that haven't transformed yet will immediately do so. While breaching, the abnormality will run and slam its appendages into other employees. It also will spit slime at agents to deal black damage over time. Any creature who dies by the abnormality or its minions will be turned into a minion themselves. If the blessed employee dies before the main creature, the abnormality will enter an enraged state, healing all of its previous damage and not dealing more damage than before. If the abnormality reaches below 40% of its maximum health, it will absorb a nearby minion to recover its health. After suppression of the main abnormality, it will return to its containment unit. End of instruction.
Where's the manager?
The manager has taken his leave for the day. He will return to the office tomorrow morning.
Tell me where he is now. If you don't tell me now, I'm going to...
If you would, humor me for a moment. I may be the person you've been seeking. All the memories, all the pain, all the grief you bear, I was the one who had led up to all of this.
Why? Out of all the death I had to relive with each tape, what was your goal here?
I believe the results are apparent. You have managed to manifest a form of EGO. The idea of the process was to show you large amounts of trauma during a single period. High emotion leads to the manifestation.
Working in this hellhole is traumatic enough.
Unfortunately, no. Under no other circumstance have we seen any other employee come close to reaching the peak of what I sought to reach.
Unfortunately, I have experienced my death almost 100 times now. I've seen countless others die the exact same deaths I have, each image seared into my brain. And all you can say, that it's unfortunate their death had no meaning to you.
Each death is unfortunate in its own right. It's not our goal to kill our employees.
Despite the fact you have things like we can change anything in our facility.
However, I'm surprised to see how much you care, despite also seeing as how we have the power to revert time as well. We can make it as if death hasn't happened in this place.
Congratulations, you can save about 5 people in a week. There's still more blood on your hands than that.
More than you realize, actually.
I know... What do you mean by that?
Do you believe it's only in our power to reset mere weeks? We have the power to do much more than that. I've seen decades more at least.
Miss Angela, I brought what you've requested.
Thank you, Hode. You may leave us now.
No, I want to be here for my employee.
Hold on, what do you mean by decades? And what's with the TV?
Surely you know what we make the training tapes on, yes?
Looking at my own work isn't going to change anything.
Actually, there's one tape you won't remember making. Recently, at least. Please, have a seat.
There's a reason we chose you. There were others that survived the incident. However, you are the only surviving member of the training department.
What about the other survivors? You couldn't have chosen them for this little experiment that you wanted to conduct?
Due to the training department's position in the corporation, I thought it best to have you be the sole candidate for this experience. Due to departmental bonuses, your talent for abnormality suppression, and your experience in training others, we made our choice.
Please, watch the tape and make your judgment afterward.
Fine. Let's get this over with.
Greetings, employees. My name is Tonrep. Recently, we've had 2 disaster-level incidents that affected the facility. Notably, everyone is severely shaken up about what's gone on. Additionally, the training that we received for these disaster-level abnormalities is a little lacking in some areas. While the training does in fact paint a good picture of what the abnormality does, it's not specific enough to tell you exactly how to handle each abnormality. With this in mind, the training department has come up with a good idea. These training presentations are going to be updated, starting with the most important one first. Dealing with Apocalypse Bird, and dealing with WhiteKnight. Let's start with the easy ones first. In order to understand Apocalypse Bird, we first need to go over all of its parts. The first of which being O-02-40, Big Bird. The Glyphoth counter starts at 5, and it will fluctuate under the following conditions. It increases by 1 with good work, it decreases by 1 with bad work, and it decreases by 1 when 5 employees die in the facility. When the Glyphoth counter reaches 0, the abnormality will breach. When it does, all of the lights in the department that it's in will black out. While roaming the facility, it will attempt to lure employees using its lamp in the dark. However, it's only able to mark one specific employee at a time to lure it. If you notice a ring over one of your co-workers' heads, let them know to exit the department immediately. Doing so will cause the mark to disappear. If they do not, the employee will become entranced and make their way towards the abnormality. Once there, Big Bird will devour them and continue the process until it's suppressed. An additional thing to note is that the abnormality will also breach once second trumpet sounds. If you want to have the best work possible with this abnormality, it's recommended that you work attachment. Next we have O-02-56, also known as Punishing Bird. The Glyphoth counter starts at 4 and decreases under the following conditions. An abnormality other than O-02-56 is worked on. This does not decrease when O-02-56 is being worked on. It also decreases whenever an agent in the facility panics. When the Glyphoth counter reaches 0, the abnormality will breach and pick a target in the facility. The target will be pecked with minimal damage until the abnormality returns to containment. However, if an employee in the facility is panicking, the abnormality's attacks will heal the employee's sanity until it's no longer panicking. Employees are not to attack the abnormality, because when it's attacked, a large maw will open on the abnormality's stomach and instantly kill anyone that attacks it. If you find yourself in this situation, avoid the abnormality for 60 seconds. After 60 seconds have passed, it will give up its search and then return to its containment unit. It's recommended that you work insight with this abnormality despite it only being a TEF. O-02-62, also known as Judgment Bird. The Glyphoth counter will start at 2 and it decreases under the following conditions. OK work is performed, or bad work is performed. This abnormality is quite simple. When the Glyphoth counter reaches 0, the abnormality will breach. There isn't necessarily a special quality to Judgment Bird compared to the others, but it is just as dangerous. The reason for that is because this is one of the few abnormalities in the facility that actually deals pale damage. Though highly improbable, if you do work on this abnormality, it's recommended that you work with insight. Before we move on, let me remind everyone, do not let 2 of the 3 previous abnormalities breach at the same time, as this will trigger an event in the facility. This event will cause mass chaos throughout the entire facility. If the facility happens to enter this disaster scenario, please remember all of the following information, as it could very well save your life. When 2 out of the 3 previous abnormalities breach, the 3rd one will breach, and a door will spawn somewhere in the facility. This is known as the entrance to the Black Forest. While the birds make their way there, none of them can be damaged. However, the entrance can. It is extremely hard to suppress the entrance to the Black Forest, however, it is possible. Once each of the birds reach the entrance to the Black Forest, the door will begin to light up with varying colors of lights. After the 3rd bird enters the door, all 3 will emerge and become a new creature, O-02-63, also known as Apocalypse Bird. This is not an abnormality that can be worked on. You can only see this abnormality while it is breaching. Things that you need to worry about regarding the abnormality are 7 abilities that it has: inducing Clifoth meltdowns, time track interference, teleportation, slams, the possession ability of Big Bird, beam attacks, the Judgment Bird's scales, and punishing Bird's maw. Do not try to attack the abnormality itself, as it is immune to damage. In order to suppress the beast, you have to find 3 eggs in the facility and destroy them. Each of these eggs have their own sets of resistances, however they will also heal to certain damage types. Small Beak, which is the stand-in for Punishing Bird, will heal from red damage. Big Eyes, which is the stand-in for Big Bird, will heal from black damage. And Long Arms, which is the stand-in for Judgment Bird, will heal from pale. In this scenario, the manager will likely separate all of you based off your damage type. Remember to stay with your proper group. Failure to do so will only drag out the incident even longer. Once all 3 eggs are suppressed, Apocalypse Bird will be considered suppressed as well, and the other birds will return to their containment unit. All of the survivors will receive an ego gift as well. We'll also have the ego suit and weapon for Apocalypse Bird available for use. However, in order to use it, you have to have an EX rating in all of your stats. I believe that about covers everything for Apocalypse Bird. Next is the 2nd disaster level event, WhiteKnight. T-03-46, also known as WhiteKnight. The Clifoth counter will start at 3, and it will fluctuate under the following conditions. It increases by 1 when good work is performed, decreases by 1 when bad work is performed. It also decreases by 1 after no work has been performed on it for 90 seconds. When we first receive this abnormality in the facility, it will take the form of a creature known as the Plague Doctor. The Plague Doctor will take its time to bless at least 12 employees in the facility. These blessings are received when good or bad work is performed with the abnormality, so try and do middling work. It also blesses an employee when the 2nd trumpet is sounded. When 12 blessed employees are in the facility, the abnormality will be further known as WhiteKnight. When the Clifoth counter for the abnormality reaches 0, or when the first 12 blessed employees appear in the facility, the abnormality will breach into its department's main room. While the abnormality is breaching, it will raise 11 of the blessed employees as apostles, with the 12th blessed employee being a heretic. The abnormality will be considered suppressed if it does a special confession work with O-03-03. It will also suppress all of the apostles, so, manager, if you're listening to this, please do this, as it will minimize most casualties. If you do have to end up fighting any of the apostles or WhiteKnight, remember that all of the apostles have different forms. Each of these different forms deal a different type of damage. Scythes deal red, staffs deal white, spears deal black, and guardians deal pale. 2 guardians will always be protecting WhiteKnight. However, multiple different variations of the other 3 will be spawned throughout the facility. Whenever these apostles are suppressed, WhiteKnight will be able to revive them. Do not use white damage when attacking the abnormality, as it will heal it. Also, try not to bring pale damage. It resists that as well. It's recommended that you deal large amounts of red and black damage in order to suppress the abnormality. Once the abnormality is suppressed, all the apostles will end up dying as well. Additionally, all surviving employees will get the Paradise Lost Ego gift and will receive its weapon. While we don't really anticipate any of these events happening again, we highly recommend that you at least study this a couple times over. Doing so could save your colleague's life. Until next time, face the fear and build the future. How was that?
Very good. I think that was a good show of what we can make.
So, this is going public, right?
Well, all the employees already know about both of these, so we'll wait until we get a larger group of new level 5 agents.
Then are you gonna need me in the future?
Yes, we will. However, Miss Angela will need to see you in her office.
Oh, did she say why?
Not sure, but it's best not to keep her waiting.
Alright. See you later, ma'am.
Surely you remember now what happened?
Apocalypse Bird and WhiteKnight. Both incidents.
You were a survivor of both.
With someone of your history, it makes sense for you to be a symbol of morale for the employees.
What about the memories on this one? I don't feel any dread, just...
You never died to these abnormalities, so there's no pain for your mind to associate with it.
You also have yet to do research on any of the further ALEPHs, meaning you have no association with the death from ALEPHs.
I feel a strange sense of pride.
As you should. You took on both of the strongest abnormalities in the facility.
This is why we chose you. You have a strength that few in the facility actually carry.
I didn't know. This is what I meant to them.
If it's not too much to ask, we would like to ask you to make one more video for the ALEPH category.
I don't know. I don't want to endure this pain any longer.
With the manifestation of EGO complete, we have no need for you to die anymore. Additionally, I believe it will be much harder to kill you in this state.
If it's any consolation, I apologize for not being able to show you this sooner.
There's a lot that you need to be sorry for. For now, I don't know when or even if I can accept any apologies.
Just take your time. I understand your hesitance. Angela, is this truly over?
Yes, the results that were produced were far below what I was hoping for.
Then what now? Do we forget everything that's happened again? Do a full reset?
Perhaps, for now, we shall continue the play as it was meant to be done, with one outlier.
You know, you don't have to do this so soon. We can still rely on the old tapes.
I know, but the people have been asking for this as well. The new hires will need someone to look up to.
Alright then. It's your decision. And Tonrep?
Yes?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We are live in 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, employees. Welcome back to another round of training. My name is Tonrep, and welcome to the ALEPH Abnormality Training Tape. I'm sure that you're very scared to deal with creatures like these, but rest assured, as long as you follow the instructions, you'll have nothing to fear. With that, let's get started.
Greetings, employees. I hope you enjoyed the video. I didn't really make an official announcement for it, but we recently hit 5,000 subscribers. I just really want to thank all of you guys for supporting me to get this far. I'm sorry for everything taking so long. I had to move from an island to the US, and it took a while for my stuff to get here. Alongside that, I wanted to at least break away from just the Lobotomy Corp Presents series. Not to say that it's completely over, but I think the story of the videos is pretty much over. Don't worry though, I will be making more Project Moon content. And I promise you I'll be making more man images. Memes aside, thank you again for watching. Like and subscribe for more Project Moon and Project Man content. Until then, remember to face the fear and build the future.